A visitor? Hello?
Hello there.
Sure, you can come in. You don't mind, do you, Liam?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, that's a really comfy chair. It's a great place to sit. Go for it.
I don't think I recognize you. Is this your first time at the shelter? Oh, I see. It's nice to meet you. I'm Liam.
And I'm Evan.
Hmm? Of course we look similar.
We're twins. Identical twins in particular. They used to make us wear different colored ribbons when we were younger. Purple for Liam and green for me.
Though there are a few ways to tell us apart.
Evan is a bit taller than me, about 2 or 3 centimeters. And his hair is a few centimeters longer than mine as well. Though Liam's ass is bigger than mine. It depends on.
Evan, you can't just say that to someone you've just met.
Sorry. He's right though. I would appreciate it if that's not how you learn to distinguish us. It would be embarrassing to have you stare like that. I'm sorry, Liam. It's okay, Evan. As I was saying though, he's a bit taller and his hair is a bit longer, which might work if we're standing next to each other. There are other smaller things you learn to notice when you know us for a while. But one of the other big differences is that I have this little notch in the top of my ear, see? Isn't it cute?
You can feel it, as long as you're gentle.
A lot of the Nekos that pass through here have had some bad experiences before they come here and don't really like being touched, so I appreciate you for asking.
I don't mind.
No, you didn't hurt me. You were just so gentle, grazing your fingers over my skin like that. It tickled, that's all. And that isn't an injury or anything. He's had that notch since we were kittens, as long as anyone here can remember. My ear's just kinda shaped like that, I guess. My turn! Can you pat me as well?
This feels so nice. You're really good at this. Have you had a lot of practice? Lived with Nekos before?
I can tell. That experience shows, even if it's been a while. A bit like riding a bike. Evan, you can't ride a bike.
Um, Liam wanted to learn, so he got two of the staff here to teach him at some point,
but I wasn't as interested, so I never learned. Oh, we were brought to the shelter as kittens, shortly after we were born. We grew up here. We don't really remember anything before that. There is nothing to be sorry about. This is a great shelter, and we love it here. Yeah, obviously we don't have experience with other shelters, but we've heard stories about them, and this one's really nice. We are technically up for adoption, but we are picky about who comes to adopt us, you see. We are happy to call this place home too, so we are not desperate to get adopted as quickly as possible. Some of the Nekos who come through here are like that. More commonly, it's the ones who have lived as companions before, and then they came to the shelter later for one reason or another. Yeah, that makes sense to me. There's something about losing that stability and sense of home that seems terrifying, and I don't blame them for that at all. But for us, we don't really mind waiting if it means finding the best new home we can. So we don't mind staying here and helping take care of the little kittens. We've been here longer than a lot of the staff members have, after all. You know what they say about cats and curiosity, right? Sorry, I'm just teasing. How familiar are you with human years versus cat years versus Neko years? Exactly. Neko maturation is a bit complicated, but as Nekos, we are adults. We are just a fair bit younger than human adults and a fair bit older than adult cats. That's a good question. I don't think so. Or at least I don't really get tired of it. Each visitor here is different, and so we don't always get the same questions. A bit here and there, and sure, hi, I'm Evan, it's nice to meet you. That's something I've said quite a few times, but I don't think of this sort of thing as that different from a barista at a coffee shop making small talk with customers. It used to bother us a bit more when we were little, but at this point we're just used to it and it's not a big deal. Yeah, plus we aren't necessarily as open or detailed about our responses with everyone, you know? A few people like you got more elaborate, friendly answers, and other people get polite but terse responses when we have to be civil and interact with people, but we don't really want to talk to them. Well, you seem like a really nice person. We're not as good as full blooded cats, but Nekos have good instinctual awareness for body language, tone of voice, that sort of thing. So we can pretty much quickly get a sense of how someone is feeling and what kind of person they are. And you are kind and gentle, and you seem really interested in listening to what we're saying and getting to know us. For example, with us being identical twins, we obviously get the "you look the same" sort of comment all the time in some form or another. But rather than it being just a dumb surface level observation or joke, you were actually concerned about being able to tell us apart, and you seemed to really want to learn which of us was which. Well, what's common courtesy to you isn't necessarily that common, though it's very much appreciated. And that doesn't mean that most people who visit are mean or anything. Far from it. But there are 9 other Nekos living here right now, and most visitors only come here once, maybe twice, so there's not necessarily much opportunity or incentive for people to learn all of our names. Yeah, exactly. Plus, people tend to be bad at remembering names and faces anyway, even when there aren't identical twins involved. Yeah, and we appreciate it. But enough about us for now. What about you? You said this is your first time here at the shelter? Have you seen the other Nekos here? Yeah, I guess it is that time of the afternoon where the other Nekos are busy with things, reading, studying, cleaning, naps. But you didn't even see Coco? She's usually hard to miss. Fair enough. But either way, Evan and I are happy to talk to you. But what brought you to the shelter today? Are you looking to adopt an Neko, or are you here to see and visit with one of the adorable Neko kittens? What do you mean? Oh, I see. Moving somewhere new and not having people you know around. We've always lived here, but we see that in most of the Nekos that come through here when they are a bit older. Yeah, I can imagine that you feel lonely, living by yourself in a new place, far from home. Though I suppose this is home for you now, but yeah, the point still stands. But how long have you been here? Not too long, huh? Is that why you're here then? Looking to make some Neko friends? Yeah, Nekos are great as companions like that. And from what we can tell about you, just about any shelter Neko would be happy with you. Yeah, except maybe Cole. He's nice, but he's had some experiences, as it were, and he's really skittish around other people. He should be okay, more or less. He's only been here for a week, maybe two. With some time and some support, he should end up okay. I wouldn't say it's common per se, but it's not as rare as you'd hope. It's common enough that all of the staff here have some training to help with that sort of thing. And older Nekos who have been here for a while. So in this case, the two of us? Just the two of us right now. Though I think Chloe is going to do the training soon as well. Anyways, some of the older Nekos have some training to help too. But it's not that common of an issue amongst the Nekos who come here, no. Yeah, that's what we meant by this being a really nice shelter. They really make an effort to make sure that everyone is taken care of in whatever ways they can. And the Nekos are happy to pitch in and be a part of that effort too. Oh, but we're sorry, we got sidetracked down a tangent. You were thinking of adopting a Neko, but... Oh, that makes sense. trying to go through an adoption. Not that those are particularly complicated or anything, but it is just one more thing. And also getting an eco saddle into your new place at the same time that you're trying to get everything sorted.
Good choice to wait until now, I'd say.
That's good too. Yeah, there are quite a few visitors that come by with some regularity, even though they don't intend to adopt any of us. There is even a woman who comes here during her lunch break every day since she works just across the street. But usually the regular visitors come maybe once every week or two. But either way, we all love those visitors too.
Exactly. So if you want to take your time in adopting and get to know all of the Nekos and just take the process a bit more slowly, that's totally fine. We're all happy to have nice people come and visit.
And when, or even if just if you are ready to adopt one of the Nekos, then you can start the process. Before then, you don't need to worry about it. Well, from what I understand, the adoption process can be a little bit different at different shelters, particularly if it's run privately or by the government. But here, at least, once you decide that you want to adopt a particular Neko, you talk to one of the staff members to fill out the required paperwork.
It's a few forms to sign, making sure that you understand the needs and responsibilities of taking care of an Neko, that sort of thing. The shelter is required to ensure that you are capable of providing a quality home for the Neko and required to create and maintain paperwork documenting the adoption. You fill out and sign the things you need to fill out and sign. The Neko being adopted signs a few documents as well, and the staff member reviews the paperwork.
And once the paperwork is reviewed, that's about it. You get a copy of the Neko's files, and you and the Neko can go home together right away. Or you can arrange for the shelter to retain custody for a few days. It's up to you and the Neko, but waiting a day or two allows the Neko time to pack all of their stuff and say goodbye to the staff and the other Nekos here. So that's the more common option.
It is really exciting, but it's also a bit bittersweet. We generally try to have a going away dinner or something like that, and most of the time it's not like we'll never see that Neko again. Some find it awkward to come back, but I'd say that most,
Probably 2/3, 3/4.
yeah, around that, most of the Nekos come back and visit occasionally. Usually with their new family the first time, but then sometimes with them and sometimes on their own after that. Yeah, exactly. We love when the Nekos come back to visit.
I'm not sure it's that common in general, but this shelter there's sort of a family reunion event every year. Usually far away from the big holidays, and any Nekos who's ever lived here is invited, as well as their new families, and it's really a nice, heartwarming event. It depends, but I would say about half of the Nekos come.
It's gotten pretty big the last few years, thanks to the number of Nekos have been adopted from here. Yeah, those reunions are always kind of exhausting, but they are a lot of fun despite that. Or rather, because of that.
The process. Ah, I see. No, it's actually that simple. Yeah, you need to have your ID, but that's about it. Any other information on you, including that paperwork. But no, there aren't any other requirements.
In theory, you could come in on your first visit to the shelter and decide within 5 minutes that you want to adopt a particular Neko. The safeguards are built into the fact that the Neko has to consent as well, and the shelter has the power to decline or defer an adoption, either on the grounds of paperwork,
Which would usually happen if you lied on the forms, for example.
or in cases where the Neko's judgment could be questioned.
Like if the Neko is a young kitten or has demonstrated a desperation to be adopted and has shown that they would accept the first person who offers, even when that person isn't necessarily a good fit.
That's uncommon when the visitor and the Neko have spent a fair bit of time together, and otherwise, the shelter might ask them to consider waiting to get to know each other more.
But it also depends on the Neko, as I said. It's somewhat common with kittens and the more vulnerable ones, but Evan and I might only get asked, "Are you sure?" out of surprise, and we would nod, and that would be that.
Any other questions about any of that? Nah, we're happy to help. We like talking about the shelter, and we like helping Nekos find new families, which also comes down to helping new families find Nekos.
We're basically honorary volunteer staff at this point.
You flatter us. We just want to do what we can.
That's a good question. It's something we've thought about, of course, but it's hard to articulate what we were looking for in visitors that might make us want to be adopted by them, since a lot of it is just instinct.
It's also a bit different for each of us, but since we would only consider it if we can stay together, you would have to agree on the person.
I guess if I had to put it into words, the most important things are how we are treated and what a relationship looks like. It's gotten a lot better from what we've heard, but there's still a pervasive sense that Nekos, especially young ones, are like cats, and thus we are treated more like pets than like people.
And we are not okay with that. We are looking for someone who will respect and care for us as equals, and has the same respect for the younger Nekos too. They are not pets, they are children.
Yeah, someone who would treat us and all Nekos and all people in general, to be honest, with the respect that we deserve. Someone who's kind and gentle and easygoing. Someone who can have the mature, difficult conversations where they need to. Someone whom we want to talk to and spend time with, and who wants to talk and spend time with us. Someone who take care of us in what ways we need to, and who will let us take care of them in what ways we can. There might be a few other things like that I'm forgetting, but
We want someone who likes to cuddle too.
yeah.
But yeah, what Liam said, in terms of environment, we are not quite as picky. As long as it's not too cramped for all of us and it's reasonably well kept and things like that, then yeah, we are okay. He and I prefer bunk beds like this. But we are also happy to share a bed.
As evidenced by the fact that we are still both laying here in Evan's bed from our afternoon nap together.
Especially as older Nekos, we are happy to help provide for ourselves. Ideally, we would be able to become actual staff members here part time.
Yeah, even if we didn't have to, we would still want to work or volunteer here, as it would still very much be home to us, so we want to end up somewhere from which is easy to get here.
Yeah, even though we would be moving on to a new chapter of our lives, though it sounds a bit dramatic when I say it like that, for us the previous chapters are really important too. I'm not sure if that made sense.
And they can still be important even if you aren't living in them, of course. But in this case, we still want to. Other people like having the clean beginnings and it helps them process and move on, and that's obviously fine too, but for us.
But that about sums it up for us, I think. When Liam said that we were looking for someone who we want to talk to and spend time with, that's usually the deciding factor in practice. There are a lot of wonderful people who come to the shelter whom we enjoy visiting with, but how do I word this?
It's a bit like finding someone you have a crush on. You might meet a lot of great people whom you enjoy being friends with, but you don't necessarily develop a crush on them. You know they are great people, and you might even try to set them up with some of your other friends if you think they might click. And obviously, the context is different, but I think it's a similar type of thing for us.
Yeah, there are a lot of great visitors whom we like chatting with and consider our friends, and we've definitely tried to have them spend more time with particular Nekos we think they might want to adopt. But it's just a different kind of compatibility that we've simply not quite found yet. At least not in a mutual way.
Yeah, as I said, it's not actually a romantic connection that we're looking for. Though human and Neko romantic relationships aren't necessarily in common either, but I think the comparison makes sense.
You seem like you want to say something. What is it? Is it something kind of awkward or embarrassing? Is there something on my face? Did one of my shirt buttons come undone?
Evan, you were wearing a hoodie. It doesn't have any buttons.
Exactly. So, what is it? Huh?
I was wondering when you would say that. Yeah, we said before that Nekos have a strong instinct for tone of voice and body language and things like that.
Plus, the two of us have lived in this shelter long enough and seen enough Nekos get adopted.
And other offers get declined by the Nekos.
Ourselves included, that we actually see it coming.
You remember that Evan and I are a package deal, right? You can have one of us without the other. Good.
Yeah, we obviously don't mind sharing a room with each other, so that's not really an issue.
What, do you want us to tell you that we decline your adoption offer?
Sure, it is a bit fast, but we've been chatting here for a while, and again, good instincts and such. I have a good feeling about this, and I'm sure that Leon does too.
Yeah.
It isn't even just specifically anything you've said or done, though it is also those things, but it's almost really easy to talk to you.
If you'd be more comfortable holding off for now and finalizing the decision on later visits, that's obviously also okay, but if you're making a genuine offer, then I think we accept it, pending the shelter's review of the paperwork and everything.
Yeah, we are sure. And we are very appreciative, of course. I'm a bit surprised, though. Why us? You haven't even met any of the other Nekos here.
Yeah, there are a bunch of cute kittens you haven't met. Coco, Stella, Leah, and kittens are always popular.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, that's really sweet. The kittens are lovely, but yeah, they are hard to leave alone throughout the day. You don't need to worry about that with us, though. They are cuter, though. Us, cute.
Oh, you
You're
flatter
too
us.
kind.
But if you're serious about adopting us, you should probably talk to the staff member up front to start the paperwork. I think it's... Is David the one who's been here this evening?
I think so.
Anyway, whoever it is can help you with all of the administrative stuff. It is getting decently late into the evening and the shelter is going to close soon, so if you want them to be able to process everything tonight, you should go take care of that now.
Time has gone quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, the three of us figure out when the adoption takes effect and when we leave the shelter's custody.
Given the timing, I would suggest the day after tomorrow, if that works. It's a little late tonight to organize the usual adoption, going away dinner, and such that we would normally do. So waiting until the day after tomorrow would let us do that tomorrow, and then whatever time the day after works for you, we can be ready to go then.
Yeah, that should work.
We look forward to it.